Stanley, Scuba, Sailing, and Adventures. Scuba diving, the British Virgin Islands. Dive site, Wreck Alley. Wreck Alley is located offshore from Red Bluff, Cooper Island. The dive guide lists the dive site as having a maximum depth of 85 feet. It recommends a minimum skill level of advanced open water diver. It has moderate exposure to easterly weather patterns. Wreck Alley has grown over the years from 1 to 4 boats. The Marie L and Pat wrecks are the closest to the mooring pin, and they lie port to port, actually touching. The Marie L was a cargo boat 90 foot in length. It was scuttled in 1991, very close to the edge of the reef. 4 years later, the Pat was sunk. It was about 90 feet as well and was an inter-island trader. The Pat actually hit the Marie L on its way down. Then came to rest, as I mentioned, touching the Marie L, facing port to port. The tugboat Beata was scuttled in 2000 and is the next wreck you'll encounter as you're moving away from the mooring pin. I'm always curious about boat names, so I googled Beata first to make sure I was saying it correctly, and then to see if it had some meaning. I found the definition, and Beata means a girl or woman who has been beatified. Well, I had to look up beatified as well, and the definition I found says, to make supremely happy was definition 1, and the other definition, Christian definition, is to declare to have attained the blessedness of heaven and authorize the title blessed and limited public religious honor. So that was quite interesting. A good boat name indeed, in my opinion. The Island Seal was scuttled in 2009. The Island Seal, also known as Joey D, is quite a large wreck and is upside down, and that will be the last wreck you encounter as you move away from the mooring pin through Wreck Alley. There's usually a mild surface current running at this dive site, and it can become quite choppy on the surface. The dive site itself is deep and, for the most part, protected. This video was recorded over the course of a single tank dive. The dive started at about 8:30 in the morning and lasted just over 45 minutes. My dive computer recorded a maximum depth of 79 feet and an average depth of 52 feet. I recorded an average water temperature of about 84 degrees Fahrenheit. The visibility was not spectacular. I think that was largely due to the weather we were having. It was quite overcast and rainy, and there was a weather system maybe 50 to 60 miles away that was impacting our weather. There was some particulate in the water, but you could still see quite a distance, so I'm not really sure how I'd rate the visibility on this dive. It was really an interesting dive site, and I would have been happy to spend multiple dives at this location. The wrecks were large and there was a lot to see. There was a large reef wall running the length of Wreck Alley. As you could see at the beginning of the video, there were a couple large stingrays as soon as we descended the mooring line, laying in the sand. Near the same spot when we returned at the end of the dive, there was a large stingray that came and made a pass right by me. That was quite exciting. There was also a sea turtle at the very end, came down and nearly swam into a diver that never saw the turtle. That's the very end of the video, so hopefully you hang around to the very end to see that. I think I'd like to return to the BVI and try a lot of these dive sites again when the weather's a little better. I knew what I was getting into diving here this time of year, and I've seen other videos of the BVI, so I know that the diving can be very enjoyable. Not that this wasn't enjoyable. The diving was great and I thoroughly enjoyed myself, but it's always a little more fun when you're taking pictures and shooting video when you have a great deal of sunlight. There's a lot to see, and the camera just doesn't do it justice if you don't have that sunlight. I do use video lights and flash, but they don't always do enough. Like in this instance where the wreck's quite a way in the distance, if I had a lot of sunlight, that would really come through a lot better. But you take what you can get, and I was very appreciative to be here, very thankful for the opportunity to be diving the site and enjoying these wrecks. I didn't penetrate any of these wrecks on this dive. My random dive boat buddy didn't seem extremely comfortable, as this was a deeper dive, so no wreck penetration in this video. Just as a side note, I highly recommend getting some training if you're going to do any wreck penetration. Take a wreck diver course or some other training in overhead environments. Even a simple swim through can turn bad very, very quickly. I hope you enjoy the rest of the dive, and be sure to look out for the stingray and the sea turtle at the very end. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment.